Hello traders and welcome to the market opening preview on a Thursday, May 5th, 2016. 36 hours away from big NFP non-farm payrolls data announcement coming on Friday. It's going to be a busy day today, traders, as traders prepare for the NFP, and I expect the markets to slow, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Traders is brought to you through FXCL Excellence in Trading. Traders, please come to our website at fxclearing.com for your trading solutions. All right, traders, coming to you from Thailand, bright blue sunny skies and hot. Yes, summer has arrived, and we are baking in the sun. All right, so got a lot to talk about today. We've got 6 currency pairs to look at and some data. And looks like news day is going to be a little light today. We'll get to that in just a moment. However, let me introduce myself to you. My name is William Gilday, and I am your moderator for the Market Opening Preview Series every single trading day before the London Open. Traders, I will tell you that I do record this during the Asia session. Traders, I started trading in the year of 2006, and in 2008, I retired from a great 27-year career as a firefighter paramedic out of the great state of Florida. So let's get right to it. So how do I trade? Well, I listen to fundamentals. I listen to fundamentals all day, part of my trading day. You need to know what's going on around the world. It does affect our trading. Today we have retail sales coming out in the Asia session, and that's going to probably move the Aussie one way or another. However, the Aussie is in a good, strong situation right now. So that's important to us as we go into this data. Now, by the time you see this video, the data, of course, will have been released. So I listen to fundamentals, and then I'm a technician. I much rather analyze charts than listening to fundamentals. I like price action, price structure, price failure, support, resistance, and of course candlestick patterns, because candlestick patterns tell you the story. It tells you what price action is doing. So if you put your fundamentals together and you put your price action together, you can come up with an analysis. And out of your analysis, you come up with a trade plan. Trade your plan, and you're fine. Don't deviate your trade plan. In other words, don't be moving stops. Don't be doing that sort of stuff. Once you have your trade plan in place, you should be set, right? Set and forget. It's there. It's either going to work. The price is either going to come to your entry or not. I'm a pullback trader, so what I like to happen is I like the move to be made, and then on the pullback, I will get into the trade. And of course, I use Fibonacci a lot in my trading. I also use 3 EMAs on my charts. I use a 200 exponential, a 55 exponential, and a 10 exponential. And we'll take a look at that in just a moment. However, before we do that, let's talk about the risk disclaimer. Keep the legal people happy. Remember that Forex trading has a large potential rewards, but also a large potential of risk. You must be aware of the risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the Forex market. Traders, most of all, please do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Traders, always remember that past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, let's talk about some news and data and see what's going on. Markets, a lot of red today in the markets after they closed yesterday. The Dow 30 is negative 0.56%. The S&P 500 is negative 0.59%. The NASDAQ is negative 0.79%. I don't think the NASDAQ's had a green day in like 6 trading days. The small cap 2000 is also negative 0.77%. Let's head on over to the Eurozone, where the DAX is negative 0.99%, and the FTSE closed also negative 1.19%, and the CAC 40 closed negative 1.09%, and the Eurostoxx 50 closed negative 1.34%. So quite a negative day. And I was at my computers, and we did watch the DAX open yesterday, and the DAX started negative right from the start and just stayed negative the whole day in the London session. All right, so let's come on over to Asia. Now, remember, Japan is on a holiday today. I think today's their last one. It's a 3-day holiday. So the Nikkei 225 is closed. However, they closed yesterday negative 3.11%. The S&P ASX 200 is trading and is currently positive 0.23%. The China 850 is not open yet, but they closed negative 0.24%. And the Hang Seng out of Hong Kong is closed yesterday negative 0.73%. And I am assuming that Seoul is on a holiday today. I did not see that in print, but my indicator is showing that they are not open, and they closed yesterday negative 0.49%. Economic calendar is pretty light today. We don't have a lot. We have retail sales month on month coming out in about 10 minutes as I'm doing this out of Australia. So that's a big data for our Aussie session. However, if you come into the London session, we have the Great British Pound House Services PMI coming out for April. Consensus is 53.5. Previous was 53.7. Again, they knocked it down a notch. So we'll see how that comes out. I don't know if that's going to be a market move or not. I don't know why they have that as high impact. I don't think it's going to be that big of a market mover, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, unfortunately, the UK, the Great British Pound, has not had good numbers come out at all this week. It's been pretty dull. As we go into the U.S. session, the U.S. session is pretty quiet. I think one thing that people are going to watch is FOMC member Bullard speaks at, that would be 11:30 in the morning. He speaks in the U.S. session, and we have initial jobless claims and continuing jobless claims, but these are all low impact. Canada has building permits, which is medium impact, so not a lot of data coming out today. It's pretty slow, and we expect that. And so, yes, South Korea, by the way, is closed for Children's Day. Japan is closed for Children's Day, and Switzerland is closed for Ascension Day. So we have two major countries that are on holiday today. All right, so now you got an idea what's going on as far as what's happening with that. My commentary is that I expect a good trading day today up until London lunch. And once London lunch kicks in, I think the market's going to pretty much dry up, as they always do before the NFP data release. Once that happens, as you know, Friday before NFP is a very slow day as far as price action. So just keep that in mind as you enter trades today, and how long you want to be in these trades. And do you want to be in these trades if and when the data comes out for NFP, whether it's a good number for the U.S. or a bad number for the U.S. The dollar for the second day in a row has gained some strength. However, it's not there yet, folks. I mean, the dollar really needs to be at 95 and above, and I think we're at 94. So yesterday went all the way. It was in 93, so it was pretty bad. But it's second day in a row. It is picking up, but it's picking up very, very slowly. And as you can see, the indices really had a bad day yesterday. Everybody was in the red. So let's go over and take a look at some charts, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Price action slowing down. This is the euro dollar. This is yesterday's screenshot, and I used the same chart because look at price action. Absolutely sideways. Nothing has happened and nothing has changed. So our trade plan remains the same. Pull back to the R1. We'll get in at 1.1521, and we'll take profit at the 200 exponential moving average at 1.1460. So nothing's changed. We're sideways, and there's a good chance we'll be sideways until Monday or Tuesday of next week. It would not surprise me unless something alarming coming out or somebody says something. I don't expect this to move, and I don't expect the dollar to today all of a sudden pop back up to 94 or 95. So, I expect this to remain sideways. So if we take a look at the Great British Pound, we did have some movement yesterday. However, as we had movement, it did come down and gave us some pips, but you can see it absolutely reversed really quick, then came back down, gave you a second chance, and now we're sideways. And We can't take this trade here, folks. I know it's at resistance of the daily and the 55 EMA, but we cannot sell this here at resistance, right? Why? Because we're jumping right into support. And you just, at 45.01, right, you don't want to be entering this trade to the downside. So, I would wait till this gives us some sort of a pullback. Will it happen today? It might. They have data coming out, but I want this coming back up to the 200 exponential moving average, and you can see I put a Fibonacci tool on the chart, and it's also the 61.8. So that's a confluence there, and look at what's also there. Yes, the 200, and it's also the R1 pivot point. So we're just going to keep an eye on that, but we really want to see the pound give us a pullback, and well, we'll see what happens. And this is a London trade, folks. I wouldn't touch this in Asia. So you're just going to need to wait and get this pullback. But if you take a look at the chart's in a beautiful trend to the downside. Nice price action, pullback, goes sideways, goes down, gives you pullback, goes down. It's stair-stepping very well. So hopefully it'll give us a pullback and we can get into this trade. Let's take a look at the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar is pretty sideways. Nothing big going on. This chart will change now because of this retail sales data coming out in just a couple of minutes. And so this chart won't look like this when you look at your chart and then you look at this chart. So depending on if this data is good or bad will depend on what happens here. So the Aussie is pretty weak, as you can see. I mean, this is in a downtrend. Look at this. Again, stair-stepping very nicely. But look at the candles. The candles are really wimpy, aren't they? Small, a lot of indecision candles on the way down. There's really no grip on this. So this can go in either direction. The Aussie was bullish for a very long time, and now it's, because the dollar's gaining a little bit of strength here, we have this down move. So I'd like to see a pullback up to the 61.8, and that's at 0.7510, and we'll get out at support at 0.7455. And, that's the trade for the day. Will it pull back that way? I don't know. This data couldn't help it. If we get good data, this can really spin up to that 618. But my feeling is the data is not going to be good. But that's just a hunch. I have no reason to say that. But I think the data is probably going to come out negative, and this will continue to the downside. But I'm not getting in it, right? I'm going to wait for the data to go out, and we'll wait about 40 minutes and then see if it's worth getting into. All right, here's the Euro Aussie. Sideways for the last couple of days, right? Actually, since the 3rd, this has been sideways. And it's really not doing much. It's sitting up here at resistance, and basically I'm looking for this to clear the daily pivot point to 55. And we're going to sell this at 1.5345, and we'll get out at 1.5195. This pair has been really erratic. It's, up one day, down the next day. It's just all over the place. However, this week it's been sideways. It really hasn't made a decision on what it wants to do. So as long as it's in that position, we're just going to trade what's in front of us. And what's in front of us is that we're at resistance. So we need this to come on down and prove that it wants to come down. And again, the Aussie news coming out could move this to the downside and give us our entry if the Aussie news is good. If the Aussie news is bad, this is going to jump up and probably hit the R1 pivot point at a minimum. I don't remember how much impact retail sales will have, but it's going to move. It's going to move the Aussie for sure. So we'll just keep an eye on that. Let's take a look at our yen pairs. This is our euro yen. This is a pretty ugly chart, folks. Look at left of the chart here. This is just all over the place, right? Now, the yen's been closed for the last 3 days, right? So this is pretty ugly, and I put a magenta line there showing you resistance, and that's at 123.14, 123.50, 123.20, somewhere in that area. I would look for a bearish candlestick formation, and we'll sell this down to this trend line. Now, unfortunately, the slide doesn't show you the whole chart, but if you look at your chart, you can see this trend line is pretty significant. It's like a 5 or 6 touch trend line. So just really keep an eye on that. And we'll want to get out of this at 122.76. So this is like a 50 pip trade if it works. But this is, like I said, the the JPY is on holiday today, so they're not even open. And this is going to be all about the euro. So we'll just keep an eye on that. And it sounds to me like the data has just come out for the Aussie data, and well, we'll take a look at it after. All right, let's take a look at the New Zealand dollar. The New Zealand dollar has really been trending really nicely to the downside. I have to tell you, this is just really nice. It trends down, gives you your pullback, and then just continues trending down. So it's stair-stepping very well. However, I don't want to sell this here, even though it looks like a great place to sell it. But we're going right into support. I really would like to see this pull back to the 61.8 fib at 0.6925. If you look left of the chart, that's nice resistance there, and it's a nice place to take this sell trade. But I don't want to take it where it's currently at, and I know it's got to break through that daily pivot point, that 55 EMA, before we can enter the trade. So we just need to be really careful with this one. But we need a pullback, and there's no pullback. It's come down and it's sideways. It's not doing anything. So we want this to pull back up to the 618, and we'll sell it, like I said, at 69.25. We'll get out at 68.65, and that'll be our trade. So I think we have some good stuff there. Again, that's like a 65 pip trade if it works out. And we just need to wait for price to come to us. And again, that is going to be well, the Aussie data could affect this trade. So we'll have, I'll have to look at that afterwards. So this could change, and hopefully it'll give us a pullback from the data. And by London Open, we can get into this trade. Even though we don't need to wait for London Open for the New Zealand dollar to trade it. We can trade this if you want to trade it. If you want to trade it to the downside, your drawdown's very little. Your drawdown's, probably 15 pips, right? Just put your stop above the 55 EMA and sell it and see how far down you can get this. If price closes above the daily pivot point, I'd be out of the trade, right? You want to get out. Make your losses small, right? So if it closes above that daily pivot, get out of your trade. But you can sell this now if you wanted to. You can see the 10 EMA is right on price, and it's to the downside. If you look at your 200 and your 55, price is the EMAs are all pointed to the downside. And that's good. It's got good angle and good separation, and that's what we look for, right? We want to see price action all in the same direction, and it's to the downside. So this is looking good. The issue is going to be, where do you want to enter at, and how much risk do you want to put on it. So just take some time to think about that. Well, traders, that wraps up our 6 currency pairs. Traders, on behalf of myself, William Gilday, and our great friends at FXCL Excellence in Trading, I want to thank you for joining me May 5th, 2016 on a Thursday, as we're getting ready for Friday's NFP, non-foreign payrolls release out of the U.S. All right, traders, always remember to trade smart and not hard. And traders, will catch you in about 24 hours. Take care now. Have a great trading day. Bye-bye.